Hello, friend. This is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com, and today I want to talk to you about how you must recognize God's power to be able to live the fullest life that you want to live. Jesus said some interesting things that were about his ability and the power of God. For example, he said one time that I can do nothing without my Father. This is very important because you must understand that we live and move and have our being in God. We can't do anything without Him. Sometimes people lean to their own understanding. They start thinking that they're going to do something in their own power, not realizing that the very power they are operating in, calling their own, is the power of God. Now, it's given freely to all creation because we couldn't even exist without God's power in our lives. But if you want to get the best results in life, you must recognize this power, because this is very important. Because if you think you're doing it just on your own power, you feel limited, you feel weak, you feel like there's not enough, you don't have enough energy, you don't have enough strength to do whatever you're trying to do. But when you recognize that that power is the very power of God in your life, you can see easily how a world of abundance opens up to you. That there's more than enough. You don't think there's limitation in God's power. You may think that in yourself. But when you recognize that power is the very power of God operating and flowing through your life, then you realize you can do whatever you want. There is nothing outside of the bounds of what you can accomplish. You can do a lot. Way more than you can imagine. Way more than you ever thought or imagined. You don't want to be like these people, like the proverbial woman who read Mark chapter 11, verse 23. And she saw that Jesus said that we can speak unto the mountain, tell it, be thou removed, and be thou cast in the sea. If we don't doubt in our heart, but we believe those things we say shall come to pass, we'll have whatsoever we say. So she took that. There was a mountain blocking her view in her backyard. She wanted to view the lake that was behind the mountain. So she spoke to the mountain. She cast it out. She commanded it to go elsewhere and stop blocking her view. And then she went to sleep. And she woke up the next morning, eagerly went to the window to see, and the mountain was still there. And her response was, I knew it'd still be there. See, that's the way many people operate in life. They're doubting. They don't believe in their heart that what they say is going to come to pass. And then they don't get the results they want. Because of course they don't. They didn't believe it. You could say the right words in a perfect way that sound eloquent, that sound religious, that sound whatever you think's great, and they'll get zero results if you don't have faith in them. But you could say a prayer mediocrely. It doesn't sound good. It sounds jumbled. But if you had faith for it and you truly believed, you'll get whatever you say. Now, I'm not telling you to be inarticulate in your words and your prayers, but my point is, it's not about the exact wording like it's some sort of magical incantation is going to get you the results. It's the faith behind that wording. That's why Jesus started that whole discussion about how we can have whatsoever we say by saying, have faith in God. If your faith is in yourself, your faith is in other people, your faith is in this and that, or your faith is in evil because you're expecting bad things to happen, your faith's not in God then. And so you will not have whatsoever you say. And one of the fundamental issues that comes in is that sometimes people have faith for a bad thing. They have faith for evil in their lives. They have faith for negativity in their lives. And they do get that because they believe for it. And Jesus said you'll have whatsoever you say. Jesus said that you'll get what you have believed for. That according to your faith, be it unto you. You don't want your faith in evil. You don't want your faith in negativity. You don't want your faith in problems of the world. This is one of the reasons why I stress not watching the news and the world's media and movies and all this stuff. People think, oh, you just don't like that stuff. It's not the case at all. When I was younger, I loved all that stuff because it's entertaining. It is made in such a way to be addicting to you. But it is a complete waste of time. And it absolutely makes your life worse. There's no good coming from any of that. That's why I speak against it so often. because it is something I see hindering people, crippling their faith, making them weak and powerless in this life, which they should never have to be. But they keep putting their faith in negativity. They keep putting their faith in evil. They keep putting their faith expecting the worst, and then wondering why God doesn't answer their prayers. If you're in that mindset, your prayers are being prayed completely in doubt and unbelief. And the scripture says that a man who is double-minded is unstable in all his ways, and to let not that man think he shall receive anything of the Lord. So we should never be in doubt, never be in unbelief. But those things that I mentioned, the news and the media of the world, and including a lot of professing Christian media, is not of faith. It is doubt. It is unbelief. It is faith in negativity. It is faith in evil. If you want to put it bluntly, it's faith in Satan. It's believing him, believing his bad news. But that doesn't have to apply to you in the least. Jesus gave us good news, the gospel. You don't have to live worried about the world, the cares of the world, what the world's talking about, this bad thing and that bad thing. None of that applies to you unless you want to believe for it. And this is a radically different position to be in life and to believe for in life. But you must understand that God's power is working through you. Now, it is given in such a way that it flows and permeates all of the creation. It is not, as God is, a respecter of persons. So an evil person can use the power against themselves or against others. A good person can use it for themselves and for others. It's very much like electricity. Electricity can light a house, as the old saying goes, or it can electrocute a man. The power does not discriminate in how it works. It just works the same way, and you use it either for good or bad. So I'm encouraging you, stop using God's power against yourself. Stop using it for things that are going against you and against others. Use it for good, believe for good, expect the best. God's giving you this great grace and power to operate and live in such a way in this life that is glorious. Don't let people rob you of that. Don't let the world get you caught up in their unbelief, in their fear. God is not giving you the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of sound mind. So get rid of that stuff. Cast it off. And start believing for the goodness of God. Start speaking the goodness of God. Start operating in the power of God for yourself, for other people, for their goodness, for your goodness. Not against people, not against yourself. There's no humility in working things against yourself, in being negative about yourself, in dragging yourself down. That may seem humble in some weird religious way, but it's just evil, even if it's perpetrated against yourself. Be good to yourself. Be kind to yourself. Use God's power for yourself, for your good. Stop working against yourself. Stop demeaning yourself. Stop believing for things that are contrary to the will of God in your life, which is for your goodness and the goodness of others. My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.